We've got Enda back. Delighted to have Enda with us this evening, our first guest. Enda, how are you doing?
Good, good.
You'll be delighted to hear that I'm the only Longford fan here at the moment, so yeah, you shouldn't get too much of a grilling.
Where's that Zaki fella?
He's probably doing a few checkpoints tonight, I would imagine.
Oh Jesus, I should have thought he was one of them. All right.
Yeah. So you're lucky he's not in your neck of the woods anyway. So you're all right.
I'm all right for another while.
So look, most of you are following the league a good while, so I'm sure you probably all remember Enda. You started with Salthill, Enda, didn't you?
Yeah, I started with Salthill. Jesus, seems like an eternity, but they were just reformed. Galway United kind of went under at the time. I started off at 18 with Galway United, and sure you all know Nick Leeson was in charge, and everything kind of went belly up. Like, yeah.
Did you get paid?
I think if I wrote a book on it now, it'd be a bestseller. No, it was. I was playing underage with my review under 21s and stuff like that, and then the hope was, I think it was going, SD Galway was going to be pulled in as the kind of new form Galway United, and then we got hockeyed every game. Like, we walked into a league with Monaghan, Derry, Cork, and it was just, now look, it was a great learning curve from the start. I think I was 17 playing in Turner's Cross with full house. Like, it was brilliant, but it was a learning curve really. But then Salthill kind of drifted away, and Merview won the A championship, so it kind of caused a bit of a divide in Galway, like, and Galway United were fighting behind the scenes to get back in. And when I was with Salthill, then Johnny Glynn took over Merview, and he was putting a good team together, so I went across there.
There's some good players in that Salthill team, and even the Merview team you played with. You can probably name off a few ones there that would impress people, I'd say.
Oh Jesus, the Salthill team, definitely. There was a lot of good lads. There was my brother was right full, would have played with Galway United for under the likes of Stephen Lally and Tony Mannion and them. My brother-in-law, Mixie Harty, would have played with, he was in that same Salthill team. Dirk O'Brien, Brian Gaffney, another one to name. And there was a foreign lad, Jacob. He was studying in the local college in Galway, and he was playing in the Salthill Fives, which is, if anyone's in around Galway, it's absolutely massive. Basically, it's a huge weekend on the June bank holiday weekend, and they picked him up there, and I honestly can say he was one of the best players I played with.
And what happened to him?
He just went back. I think he was Slovakian. He went back to Slovakia. I think he's actually still playing out there in the second division. Right. He was a good player now, but like that's the way it seemed to go. Like, a lot of them just pick up lads that out of pure pot luck. But there was a lad with Galway last year, Alberto. What a player! Like, he's playing in the third division in Spain now. Very good technically, like one of the best I've seen. Don't know, was it rough and tumble or what was it? But in the League of Ireland, he was kind of coming and going. He was getting kind of injured and training and stuff like that. But what a player!
Lads, feel free to jump in with questions at any stage. If you don't have questions, I'll keep firing them away.
Enda, Roddy Collins, discuss.
Larger than life character, I suppose. No, I owe a lot to Roddy. He was the one that really kind of put his faith in me at the start. Like, as Kieran will tell you, there was a kind of a tug of war when Athlone and Longford were going back and forth. They were battling it out at the top, and I was at Salthill, and Roddy kind of publicly called me out that time on a radio station somewhere in the Midlands.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, this will tell you, I was working in Duns, and there was a manager came up to me. I was in college at the time, and my manager came up to me and he says, I'm after going on Facebook and seeing some interview, and he said some managers after ripping you, like. And I was kind of, what do you mean? I was just kind of confused, and I got home and I heard the interview, and I had Tony Cousins on the phone to me that morning, like, and I had basically agreed with Tony because I was on a scholarship with NUIG through Salthill, so there was complications with that, and everything was agreed. And Dirk O'Brien actually was on the phone to me and was saying, come to Longford, we'll win it, you'll have a medal for the rest of your life, it'll be brilliant. And there was something just telling me no. there was something saying, I don't know what I'm doing yet. I don't know, was it Zachy or you, Kieran, that was kind of throwing me off. But I ended up signing with Roddy, but like, he's just, people get this kind of perception of him, like, and like Roddy says it as he sees it. And to me, you can't ask for much more than that. Like, I owe a lot to him though, even to win the first division that time. It was something that you'll always bring with you. Like,
yeah, you hit the ground running. You'd scored in your first game, I think I remember right, and you probably got a run of goals in towards the end of it as well. So
yeah, I scored. I think it was Hearts. We scored.
Yeah, I was going to say, you scored against us.
Yeah, you were in the running. And
Yeah.
I remember all my mates were playing with Merview, like, and Merview lost to Longford in the playoffs eventually. And I remember getting a text off Mark Ludden. I think it was Mark Ludden, or it was one of the lads anyway. And they said, Jesus, they said, you're after doing us a big twist. Like, you could have pulled Harps kind of closer to us. And Merview went on a run then. I think Merview actually beat Longford, and then before the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or I could be mistaken now, but they got in the end. But after that, yeah, I scored on my debut, and then I scored a couple after that as well. Then I went down and played Merview, and I think I got 2. I think I got 7 or 8 goals in the running anyway with Athlone, but I only played maybe 15, 16 games. So I kind of had a good start.
Did you go to Derry straight after Athlone?
Yeah, that the season finished, like, and nothing was like, there was rumors kind of going around that like Roddy was in regular contact with me, and he was talking, saying, well, look, I have a couple of options of where I can go to his next club. And he said to me, where I go, I want to bring you. And I said, yeah, it's understandable. And then Keith Long came into Athlone. So I went and I said, yeah, and I met Keith, and everything kind of going well. And just one thing kind of led to another, and I ended up at Derry. But yeah, that was kind of the way it went.
And what do you feel went wrong at Derry?
Apart from the obvious.
I think, how would I describe it? It's a long way from Galway 1. I was only, 20. Look, it was a big change. Like, I actually thought I'd done okay. I got a couple of goals at the start. They hadn't beaten Sligo in a couple of years or something like that, and I scored the winner in that, and that was grand. And I kind of started getting a run of games. I started doing well, and then I got injured. And then when I was injured, Roddy left or whatever happened, and then Peter Hutton came in, and I wouldn't say I got froze out, like, but I found it hard to get back in. And all of a sudden, then I found myself one Sunday morning in Fonnet playing a game in the Ulster Senior League. And no disrespect to anyone, like, I didn't mind. I had to get fitness into my legs, and I just kind of found week after week I wasn't kind of making any progress. So I said, look, I need to look at this, like, I left college and stuff like that as well behind me, and I was thinking I need to get something. I need to figure out where I'm going here. Like, I think anyone that's played in the League of Ireland will tell you that you get to that stage where you're kind of going, well, what comes of it here? Like, because at the end of the day, if you're in it for financial gain, you're in the wrong league.
Where did you go next after Derry?
I went, Tommy Dunn rang, and Galway FC were formed, and we went straight up after. We came back, and there was me, Vinny, Jake, Ryan Connolly, Jason Malloy, Stephen Walsh, Mark Ludden, like core of nearly all Galway lads. I know Ryan is Mayo. A lot of Galway lads. And we got promoted. We bet UCD in the playoffs, bet Shells in the playoffs, and then we bet UCD in the playoff final.
I was at that UCD game actually, the final, yeah.
Yeah, I think we bet them 1-0 up there. I think Ryan Manning scored. Yeah, Manning scored up there.
Yeah, goal, I think.
Yeah, and then I think, that was in UCD, and then we bet them 5-0 in Terryland, or even DC Park as it is now.
Yeah. And you kind of dipped in and out of League of Ireland, then you went back to Merview as well. So, as you said, was it just getting to the stage where you're thinking, I can probably make a few pound playing locally and be as happy as I am playing League of Ireland?
Yeah, it was one of them things where, like, I was with Galway United, and everything was like, I think I finished in the top. I got 13 goals in the Premier the year we got to the cup final, or no, the year we went up, and I had a couple of offers from some of the big clubs, and I turned it down, and because I wanted to keep playing and hopefully just keep getting regular minutes. And I just, when I look back at it now, maybe I should have went and sat on the bench for a year or whatever and kept going from there. But yeah, then Shane Keegan came in and he wanted to go a different route, and I said that's understandable. And then I ended up at Longford, and after Longford came out, and I went back to Merview. And look, there's a lot to be said for it, like, because it was probably one of the most enjoyable years I had in football. Like, got an Irish cap out of it, and that's something that I'd always like. It was probably winning the league with Athlone, the Irish cap, and that should be two probably my best achievements. Like, we won the tournament when we went with the Irish team as well, so it was a lot of ex-League of Ireland lads, Thomas Hyland, Craig Walsh, Gary Delaney, a lot of, because there's only one tournament that you can play in if you have had a professional contract, so it was great to play with them lads.
What went wrong at Longford?
I couldn't tell you, because the squad that was there was frightening.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, you had Kevin O'Connor in the middle with Dean Zambra. You had Don, myself, Davey, Dylan McGlade. You had Walshy at the back, Reese, Havo. Like,
was Padjo still there?
Who?
Padjo Flynn?
No. I've played against that fella, but never came into contact with him outside of that. No, he's not the friendliest to play against either, let me tell you.
But yeah, like you said, it was a good squad and there was a big investment and everything. Was it a case of the players not gelling together, or was it a case of the manager not gelling with the players? Or because obviously there was a few kind of stories about things not going great with the management set up there. Obviously everyone knows I'm a huge Alan Matthews fan, everything he's done, and
yeah,
as well as one of the best coaches around, but something just didn't click. Was that a simple way of explaining it, really?
Yeah, like I couldn't fault like Gary Cronin and Kev Doherty. Like, even now, like when we played Drogheda last year, I had a good chat with Kev and stuff like that. Like, the coaching was unbelievable. I think from my own perspective, it was the fact of getting to league slip.
Right.
Was a major issue for the likes of me and Stephen. It was an issue. Every game was an away game, and that can take its toll as well. Like if we had to play in Wexford, we were going to have to drive to Dublin to get the bus with the lads down to Wexford.
Yeah.
And that was one thing. But like, Alan was brilliant to us. Alan, couldn't fault him at all. And when it happened, I was under the presumption I was going staying, and then Neale Fenn came in. And when he came in, like, it was just literally like, look lads, there's going to be cutbacks. And like, expenses, stuff like that were all being just nipped in the bud. Like, so we said, okay. So look, there was no ill feeling with anyone on the board or the committee or anything like that. And, like, I'm still in regular contact with Paul Skinner, great buddy of mine, like, through football. Don Cowan, like, still, they're all great lads. There was nothing in the dressing room between managers or staff or even the club itself. Like, even anyone in the background of the club were always brilliant to me anyway.
What about Fenny? How did you find him?
Am I allowed to say what I really feel? Neale was very good at, like,
we're not too fond of him up here in Dundalk.
I didn't have a whole lot of dealings with him. We played, I think it was Daniel O'Reilly scored a worldie in my last game. He flicked it up on a volley and put it in the top corner.
Against Cove at home, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what a goal. Yeah, amazing.
I was training all week and I was absolutely flying. Well, I thought I was flying. And I got to the ground and I was kind of like, what's going on here? And wasn't really getting a run at it. Like, I was kind of questioning it. Like, and even Davey, not probably the nicest fella you'll ever meet, Davey O'Sullivan. Yeah. He came to me and he goes, what's going on? Maybe he wanted us out. That was the impression I was getting. Right. No love lost. Just got on with it. That's football. Just kind of took it on the chin and ended up at Athlone again.
Whatever about yourself anyway, like Sully, all the goals he had scored and everything he'd done for the club, like, it just seemed, and then he came back to bite as he got a hat-trick.
Yeah.
First game he played against us with Shells, and he got the golden boot that year with Shells. So it just seemed like a mad kind of decision to push him out. Like,
I definitely wouldn't understand that, like, because anybody, even when we were in Longford, if we got to the game, got to Longford early before we headed out to, it's always known as flanker to me, like, because I used to go watching games in flanker when my brother was playing. Like, we'd stop into a hotel or something, and you'd be talking to somebody, and like Davey was like a god down. Like, Davey was the main man, like. So, like myself and Davey, like, I thought that partnership had kind of ripped that league apart. But whatever the issue was, it just didn't seem to happen. Like, we played together a few times and we've done really well. The first game in Shelburne, I think we missed a penalty. Davey missed. I won the penalty, and there was a bit of words I wanted to take it. Davey, look, I stood back. I said, Davey, you've been here all along. Davey took it, but that game, like, we linked up so well. And I remember my old man saying to me, he goes, geez, if you click like that for the rest of the season, you kill teams. And then you have Don on the right. Don is like the most effective player. Only
for injuries, he would have been something different altogether, wouldn't he?
It was mad. He was very good, so strong. Like, he gives Mark Ludden nightmares. When we meet Mark Ludden, like, we'd be tearing him because we said the minute Don walks in the dressing room, Mark goes white. He just goes completely. It's like he gets nervous when his name is mentioned.
Brilliant. Lads, if any of you had any more questions for Enda, we're going to move on to our next guest shortly. I'm delighted to say Conor Hoey is with us, and Dave Rogers has just joined as well. So the party's getting started here. So if any of you have any final questions for Enda.